Oh boy, this is some good news. I love to hear stuff like this. Alex Jones could face 2 more defamation trials over school shooting lies by Reuters. For those that don't know, Alex Jones, the most famous and popular, most viewed and well-funded conspiracy theorist of all time. His biggest claim to fame is arguing that the Sandy Hook mass shooting, it was a school shooting, was actually a false flag, basically done by the Democrats to try and make guns less popular in the United States and to make gun reform or gun control more popular in the United States. It's a pretty deranged conspiracy theory, especially when you consider the fact that, there generally aren't actually false flag mass shootings on schools done by the U.S. government ever to be proven to have happened by any verifiable source whatsoever. You would think that, like, Snowden or something, I don't know, like some whistleblower would have leaked that by now with some actual credible evidence, but no, there is none. It's just Alex Jones and his general conspiracy ramblings. But the problem is, to Alex Jones at the time, I think him claiming that the Sandy Hook shooting was just a false flag to make guns less popular in the United States probably seemed like a very harmless and easy lie to tell for his grift at the time, right? Like, yeah, I'll just, get my audience believing this is another fake event, another false flag, and I'll make money off of it, and that'll be all good, right? I think that's what he thought was probably going to happen. But if you tell an audience of raging lunatics that watch Alex Jones and take him seriously that the Democrats just faked the murder of a bunch of children and paid a bunch of crisis actors to pretend to be the grieving parents of said dead children or the surviving children of the shooting, then naturally your massive audience of psychotic conspiracy theorists are going to harass those people. And so what ended up happening was, for over a decade now, Alex Jones fans have been harassing, sending death threats, and forcing to basically upend the lives of many of the survivors of Sandy Hook and many of the families of the dead children of Sandy Hook. So Alex Jones has been sued, and he has lost a lot, and it looks like it's not going to let up anytime soon. He is going to continue to be sued into bankruptcy. The courts have also blocked him from declaring personal bank... I forget what he tried to do. Courts block Alex Jones. Yep, here it is. Judge blocks Alex Jones from transferring assets outside of the U.S. The courts are actively preventing Alex Jones from finding loopholes to get out of paying his fortune and money to the courts. It's actually really great. Right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones could face more defamation trials in 2023 under an agreement meant to put a price on lies that Alex Jones told about school shootings in the U.S. Jones's attorneys previewed the agreement at a Wednesday court hearing in Houston, telling U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez that it allows Jones to avoid further trials if he completes a bankruptcy settlement by August 31st. Jones filed for bankruptcy in December after he and his company, Free Speech Systems LLC, of course, were found liable for a combined $1.5 billion in 2 previous defamation trials brought by the parents of children killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre. Lopez will decide whether to approve the agreement on June 29th, since Jones and his company are bankrupt and the trials would not normally be allowed to proceed without bankruptcy court permission. Jones has said that he cannot afford to pay the Sandy Hook defamation judgments and is attempting to resolve all legal claims against him through a settlement in bankruptcy. Jones had claimed the killing of 20 students and 6 staff members in the December 2012 shooting in Newtown, Connecticut was staged, with actors as part of a government plot to seize Americans' guns. Jones has since acknowledged the shooting occurred. So he's since admitted he was a liar, but he's still defending himself in court, and defending his claims in court. Under the new agreement, 3 plaintiffs will be able to proceed to trial in Texas state courts if no bankruptcy settlement is signed by August 31st. The trials would determine the value of the plaintiffs' claims, but the plaintiffs would not be able to collect on any judgments without further orders from the bankruptcy court. Leonard Ponzer, the And Veronica de la Rosa, whose 6-year-old son Noah was killed in the Sandy Hook shooting, would proceed to trial in October. Jones falsely said that De La Rosa was an actor who faked a CNN interview after her son's death, and a Texas judge found Jones liable for defaming the parents after he refused to comply with court orders in the case. Oh, on top of that, Alex Jones has been horrible in regards to his, behavior with the court. He's acted like he's invincible to the law. Survivors of Marcel Fontaine, or Fontenay? I don't know how it's pronounced, who was falsely identified as the gunman in the 2018 Parkland, Florida school shooting, would proceed to trial in December. Fontaine died in 2022. The new agreement includes a placeholder value for Ponzer, De La Rosa, and Fontaine's claims, which will remain confidential during the settlement talks, Jennifer Hardy, an attorney for Texas plaintiffs, said at Wednesday's hearing. The placeholder value would help determine how assets would be divided among Jones's creditors in the bankruptcy. It would determine the weight accorded to the 3 plaintiffs' claims in any future vote on the bankruptcy settlement. Without a placeholder value, the Texas defamation claims could be given far less weight than the defamation claims that have already resulted in $1.5 billion in verdicts, according to Jones's court findings. Woo! Oh yeah, one of Alex Jones' lawyers accidentally sent him a full copy of Alex Jones' phone records to the prosecutor, or to the courts. So accidentally, by the way. So Alex Jones is well and truly fucked. He's guilty. Everybody knows he's guilty. The evidence is very strong, even on a legal level. He's done. He's done, legally speaking. The only people that follow him at this point are very, very disingenuous right-wingers and not nut jobs. So I don't know how it harms his ability to just make more money, but he's gonna be bankrupt. That's for sure. And that's some damn good news. I think Legal Eagle also did a video about this recently, right? Oh yeah, this is about his personal bankruptcy. Now this will explain in a little more detail what that personal bankruptcy actually entails, because it goes deeper than it's a little more complicated than just not having money.
Alex Jones is now 2 kinds of bankrupt, morally and personally, with hundreds of millions of dollars of nutritional supplement sales to his name, as well as $1.5 billion in legal judgments. The conspiracy theorist now says that he's broke, by which he means he's forced to live on a paltry $10,000 a week that his company Free Speech Systems is paying him now that it too has declared itself bankrupt. Must be rough. But is Jones really bankrupt, or is this all a massive dodge? Or does he just need to take an extra dose?
That is what justice looks like for rich people in this country. Worst case scenario, you have to live a modest life in which you never have to worry about paying your bills again.
Of super male vitality pills and show the haters what's what. Now, Alex Jones had a bad year in 2022. It started off in January when he was forced to testify before the January 6th Select Committee and forgot how to spell his own name. In August, a jury in Texas found him liable for $42.5 million in damages to Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, whose 6-year-old son, Jesse Lewis, was killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook school massacre. And in November, a group of Sandy Hook parents were awarded more than $1.4 billion in compensatory and punitive damages by a jury in Connecticut after Jones called them crisis actors and accused them of faking their own children's deaths to gin up support for gun control. Along the way, Free Speech Systems, the company Jones owns and runs his InfoWars show through, declared bankruptcy. Then, after the second jury verdict, Jones himself filed for personal bankruptcy. But on the plus side, he's probably the first guy to ever go on the air and call the judge presiding over his case a, quote, dwarf goblin.
Even in third world dictatorships, when they have kangaroo courts, they don't have the judge tell the jury, this person is guilty. But she says up there, it's a special case. And they're all caricatures of what you would imagine in some alternate universe of dwarf goblins. It's demonic. They all act demonically possessed. The judge.
He's being anti-Semitic here, by the way. He's making a reference to Jewishness or something. It's obvious. We're talking lawyers and we're talking goblins. All right, and we're talking demonic, and it's Alex Jones. You know he's talking about Jewish people. You know for 100% fact he's talking about Jewish people.
Judge, the lawyers.
Plus, thanks to Jones and his lawyers, attorney Mark Bankston will probably never have to buy himself a drink ever again after his real-life Perry Mason moment.
So you did get my text messages, and it said you didn't. Nice trick.
This is classic.
Yes, Mr. Jones. Oh. Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, Did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years, and when informed, did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about saying it. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment.
So, there were some high points too.
Oh, he turned so red. By the time, the camera turned back to him, Alex Jones had turned so red.
But is Jones really bankrupt? Well, it's complicated. Now, there are several different kinds of bankruptcy, but for today, we're only concerned with Chapter 11, aka reorganization. This type of bankruptcy is for businesses which could be profitable if they could just get out from under some of their debts. And in general, the business owner, known as the debtor, remains in possession of the business, meaning that they run the day-to-day operations while negotiating with creditors under the supervision of the court. In Chapter 11 cases, the government is represented by the U.S. trustee, an employee of the Justice Department, whose job is, quote, to promote the integrity and efficiency of the bankruptcy system for the benefit of all stakeholders, debtors, creditors, and the public. Which means all the things that you think it means, and also that the U.S. trustee makes sure that the debtor doesn't conspire with, say, one of the other creditors to defraud either the government or the other creditors, which may or may
Effectively, this all boils down to Alex Jones is so wealthy that regardless of the fact that he's now been, he's filed for personal bankruptcy, his company's filed for bankruptcy, he's been sued for over $1.3 billion, and he has more lawsuits on the way, he will no doubt continue to live a life that is something that many of you guys could only dream of, sadly. He will probably still have Rolexes, nice cars, a bunker that he lives in and does his show from. He does his show from an underground bunker, for those that don't know. He has an enormous amount of wealth, and the worst case scenario for him is that he ends up living an upper middle class life, sitting on his ass where he never has to work because he's just getting checks. And he probably will still have enough saved up in some way that he'll still be rich. Yep. In America, it's very hard to make a rich person not rich anymore through legal means. It's very hard for a rich person to commit enough crime to lose all their money. They would have to commit their crime in an entirely illegal way, or make their money in an entirely illegal way, and do a very bad job laundering their money. For it to all get seized by the federal government. It'd have to be a full-on crime. For it to, in a case like this where it's defamation, we're talking about one person suing another person. This isn't even a criminal trial. So especially when we're talking non-criminal proceedings, it is practically impossible to strip the enormous wealth from someone like Alex Jones. He will, however, take a pretty substantial hit from this, and this is no doubt hurting him in many ways. Reputationally, it's hurting him monetarily. Rich people desire to have a lot of money. They aren't just happy having enough money, they need more than enough money. So taking any amount of money from them hurts them. So yeah. Saying you don't understand this has ruined him. He can't run InfoWars anymore, more than likely. He's still doing it, though, isn't he? He's still doing his show. The heir to Dow Chemicals raped his own 3-year-old daughter and got nothing but house arrest, Sanderhall. There is no justice. Uh-huh. Yeah. Do you know who else? You guys remember how a woman accused Donald Trump of raping her when she was 13 years old, right? But the case got dropped after the woman was threatened by Trump's fans. She dropped the case. Do you know who the other person she was suing for that, in that case for raping her when she was 13 was? Epstein. This was back in 2016 before all the Epstein shit was in the news. She sued Donald Trump and Epstein for raping her when she was 13 years old. And then dropped the case after she was being threatened by Donald Trump fans. This was in 2016, well before the 2019 Epstein didn't kill himself stuff. So, yeah. I think it's fair to say the chances are pretty high. I think any reasonable person would see that connection and go, oh. Yeah. These people are evil. They are genuinely evil. And the best way you can tell what they're guilty of is what they accuse everyone else of completely baselessly out of goddamn thin air. They accuse people of being demonic child demons, and it turns out they have connections to Epstein and stuff like that. So yeah, it's the pot calling the kettle black at the end of the day. They throw stones from the glassiest of houses.